Moor. Callum Moor.
Oh boy, gonna get some rings. Colin, Levi
Hello.
there. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Never better, thank you. Thought I'd start off with some Scottish. And does the stream look okay where you are?
Let's see.
Anna is small and nice. Ha Anna. Small is book. Yes. Snook. Book snook. And the adjectives do not show any agreement there, it seems to me.
Sure, Morak.
Yes, stream looks good.
Anna.
Thank you. Morak.
Sure, Morak. Anna.
Yes, Anna. So I thought maybe you could read a few sentences from the images I sent you, since reading and pronouncing are strengths of yours. If you're up for that.
Okay.
Chicken. What's a chicken in Scottish?
Oh, I don't know. In Irish, it's kjerk. It might be the same
yeah.
or different.
Yep. Kjerk. Got it. Yes. Pishak. I think spelled like that. Pishak.
Ballach. Callach.
Callach. Yes, Callach.
Iron brew. Coo.
Brew. Yes.
Okay.
Coo. Is it legible to you?
It's legible just fine. Is there any particular paragraph you want me to read?
Yeah, so the top left, can you see the page number? Page 142 is where we ended. No, not that. Sorry, not that. Oh, can you read me the page number? I lost that bookmark.
I have the left-hand page is 478.
Thank you.
478.
Sehr gut. Yeah, we got to fährt nach München, about the middle of the page. Nach München fährt So from that.
Much agus Callach.
Much is the pig.
Fährt nach München fährt Der Stirnsatz.
Genau.
Das Verb steht. What?
I was going to say, maybe just be good. It'd be good to get in the swing of it if you just read it from the top, and let it flow over us and try to soak up the meaning from it.
Anmerkung. Uneingeleitete Nebensätze sind solche, bei denen keine Konjunktion, das, weil oder kein Relativelement, der welche steht. In allen Fällen also besetzt das Finitverb die zweite Stelle auf dem Satzfeld. Das gilt auch für die Inversion, also die Umkehrung der Abfolge.
Anna, big, snook.
Sounds great.
Good so far?
Yeah.
Did I make any mistakes?
No, well, not a mistake per se. I do have a suggestion for the intonation. That thing solche in the very first clause there. Uneingeleitete Nebensätze sind solche bei denen. It's kind of a rising intonation because it's sort of like a list, but it's anyway, the solche sets it up. It's anaphoric. By denen, and that relative points back, are such things by which. So you got to show that with the intonation instead of having a fall at the end. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I was kind of reading it like phrase by phrase. So that's my excuse.
Yep.
Sind solche, bei denen keine Konjunktion, das, weil oder kein Relativelement, der welche steht. Better?
Yep, much better. So shall we go to der Stirnsatz?
Der Stirnsatz. Das Verb steht auf der ersten Stelle des Satzes. Es hat also die Sternstellung inne.
Good.
Sätze dieses Typs nennen wir Sternsätze.
let's just go sentence by sentence. Tell me the subject and the core of the verb for these clauses that you read. And I'm going to do the Scottish one real quick.
Ha Anne big ice snook.
Snook. She is swallowing hard. All right. What's the subject there? First clause.
Das Verb.
Yeah. Oh, it was an der ersten Stelle. I think you said auf. We do have auf. It would be the same case, but it's an here. An der ersten.
In which sentence?
The very first one after der Stundsatz. Das Verb steht an der ersten Stelle des Satzes. So what does that part mean?
The verb stands in the first place of the sentence.
Yep.
The first position.
Es hat also die Spitzenstellung, Strich, Stirnstellung inne. Inne is nice.
Ha carriage ma.
Has, therefore, the Spitzenstellung. Spitze is a point.
Yes.
The pointing place.
Not that it's pointing.
The pointing place or the forehead place?
No. Oh, it's not really pointing. Did you say pointy or pointing? Never mind.
Either one, whichever is correct.
Well, okay. It is not pointing in the verbal sense, but like a point. That's die Spitze.
Oh, pointy, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a verb. As a verb, it would mean to sharpen.
Okay, yeah. When I said point, I meant like pokey, like sharp.
That's right. That's the sense.
Like the end of something.
And
I completely forgot about the other meaning of point, which is more like, what, zeigen or something?
Like, yeah, andeuten and so on.
Okay.
Zeigen. Many derivatives there. So German is very fond. Yeah, anyway. Questions about that? Inne. What do you make of inne?
I don't know. Maybe it's a fusion of the preposition in and something else.
I suppose so, yeah. Or like an nominalized form of it or something. Inne. Or just an emphatic form of the pronoun. Let's see what we can find. But it is the sense of in. It is part of the verb innehaben. Here there are two separate words, but we got to know that as a lexical chunk in our lexicon.
It is what I learned as separable prefix.
Yeah, but well, I mean, in those
though you dispute
univerbation ones, it does look like a prefix, but not the best label for it because it's separable, and right, really it's just better regarded as a compound. In contrast to things like the Fa in vergessen, sich verlesen, verlieren, all of those guys. The Fa is, it's a movable piece that changes the meaning of a thing, but it doesn't occur on its own. I mean, it's related to for. There's just a different phonetic form.
And true prefixes don't bear stress. That's a rule.
In German they don't. In other languages they can, but not in German, except for un. That's not an independent word, but it's a stress prefix. But these verb extending ones, they're a special class of things. The inseparable prefixes are the true prefixes.
Okay.
Yeah. Inne. So what's the meaning for the second clause? Bei den. Oh, wrong place. Es hat also die Spitzenstellung inne.
So it has either a point place or a forehead place in it.
Let's put that into standard English.
Seo cearc agus aireann brú.
Is that unstandard?
Maybe I'm just not hearing you correctly. Can you type it for me, please? I do have a fan going.
Yes.
Turn it off now. It's not too bad. It's pretty hot a moment. But that'll help me hear you, and vice versa. You hear me. Seo cearc
agus aireann brú.
Chicken and iron brew. Cow is big. Verb first, ha. And then subject next, right? O. Yeah. And then big is more. Ha bo. Oh, it's mood. No, it's more. And the go becomes good.
Ha Anne big.
Anna is small. Friend and a cow. Cottage. Wait, is it ID? Karaid. Okay. Karaj. Just the one palatalization. It therefore has a point place. Or, in it. No, it's not quite it. It occupies. Innehaben. I'm going to use a double bar for those separable ones. Distinct words.
Okay.
So a phrasal verb. And because of the way the German bracketing works, it surrounds its object unless you extract it. So with that in mind, es hat also die Spitzenstelle. Therefore has, therefore, go ahead.
Okay, then just replace the has with occupy. Occupies, and then get rid of this here.
Another stressed form of in, by the way, point place or forehead place, good, is the ein, in einnehmen, einnahmen, and so on. This is also the numeral ein, but einfach, Einzahl. No, that's the different one. That's the numeral. I'm talking about the prepositional, or this direction particle one. Said that already. What else is there? Einstellen, einziehen, hereinziehen, herein, hinein, those guys. Is related to in also. So a nice little family there. Very Germanic looking. Ein combining form, and now this inne as a separable verbal thing. All related there.
Ha ili mor.
In the extended family, we have this nice, really odd kind of English noun, inning, as if in were a verb, and its opposite, outing.
Okay, inning is for baseball, right?
That word, exactly.
Did you know that in cricket they use that, but they just always use the plural? So they say in the first innings.
Okay, I did not know that. As if each going onto the field is one inning, perhaps.
Ha ili mor.
No, one innings.
One innings. Oh, so not plural. It's just an invariant S.
Yeah, it just ends with an S. Yeah.
Eli Moor, was it?
Ha ili mor.
Ellie is big. A boy and a girl. Do you remember boy?
In Scottish. Let's see. I know in Irish it's vocal, but I don't know.
Balach. Looks like the adjective strong in Sanskrit.
Seo mórach agus píseach.
Mórach agus píseach. No, the G. Agus píseach.
Ha bó
Okay, should I read the
mór.
next sentence?
Oh yeah, please do.
Sätze dieses Typs nennen wir Sternsätze. Semicolon. What did you call it?
Strichpunkt.
Strichpunkt. Sie kommen vor als Entscheidungsfragesätze, Aufforderungssätze, Imperativ, Ausrufesätze, uneingeleitete Nebensätze und ungeleitete irreale Wunschsätze.
Good, pretty
Wir
good.
vergleichen.
All right, good. But let's hold on. Let's see. Sie kommen vor. That one's got to be stressed when it's separated too. Vorkommen. Sie kommen vor als Ausrufesätze. Oh, Aufforderungssätze. There too. Auf, I think, is always separable. Fordern. So it gets the main stress in the verbal compound. Auffordern. Fordere auf. And that carries over into the noun. Nouns generally want to have initial stress. Imperativ, Ausrufesätze, uneingeleitete. The main stress there will be on the un. Uneingeleitet.
Uneingeleitete.
Genau. Nebensätze und uneingeleitet. Irreale. Irreal. So I've been trying to think as many examples as I can of weird stress in loanwords. Here's one. Irreal. Generally, if they're from French or Latin, they like to have the stress at the end to sort of differentiate them. But here it's on the initial. Irreal, yeah. Wunschsätze. Okay, so let's just read them through in lines next. Can you give the heading, Entscheidungsfragesatz, and then the example?
Okay. So the Entscheidungsfragesatz, and it says, kommt ihr ins Kino mit?
Sehr gut.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right?
Should we translate?
Yeah, our Entscheidungsfragesatz is, do y'all come with to the movie theater?
Are you coming? Yeah. All right, somebody is clamoring to get in. I'm going to let him in real quick. Play a bit of the recitation. BRB. Really better with the, yeah, okay. How would we translate Entscheidungsfragesatz? What do the pieces mean?
I'm thinking on that while you play the recitation.
All right, good. Sounds like a winner. What's going on? Can you hear that? I can't.
येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैः शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयम् ऐउण रुद्रक एवों ऐऔच हयवरट लन ञमगणनम झभय घढधश जबगडधश ख फ छ ठ थ चटतव कपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वराणि सूत्राणि। अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः प्रथमः पादः वृद्धिरादैश् अदेङ्गुणः इको गुणवृद्धि न धातुलोप आर्धधातुके इति च दीधीवेवीटां हलोऽनन्तराः संयोगः मुखनासिका वचनोऽनुनासिकः तुल्यास्य प्रयत्नं सवर्णं नाज्झलौ ईदूदेद्विवचनं प्रगृह्यम् अदसोमात् शे निपात एका जनाङ् ओत् सम्बुद्धौ शाकल्यस्येतावनार्षे उञः ऊ ईदूतौ च सप्तम्यर्थे दाधाघ्वदाप् आद्यन्तवदेकस्मिन् तरप्तमपौघः बहुगणवतुडति संख्या श्नान्ताषट् डति च तक्तवतो निष्ठा सर्वादीनि सर्वनामानि विभाषादिक्समासे बहुव्रीहौ न बहुव्रीहौ तृतीया समासे द्वन्द्वे च विभाषाजसि प्रथमचरमतयाल्पार्धकतिपयनेमाश्च पूर्वपरावरदक्षिणोत्तरापराधराणि व्यवस्थायामसंज्ञायाम् स्वमज्ञातिधनाख्यायाम् अन्तरं बहिर्योगोपसंव्यानयोः स्वरादिनिपातमव्ययम् तद्धितश्चा सर्वविभक्तिः.
The last one we got to, we didn't discuss its meaning. Since we're here, let's spend a moment on it. Review our Devanagari.
Okay, I put the definition of this word in the chat.
Decision, question, sentence, yes, no, question. Excellent. All right, let's continue. Next one.
Let's see.
Oh, something wrong. No.
Aufforderungssatz.
Mhm.
Komm.
Short and sweet. Good.
That one was
What's
short.
up? What does Aufforderung mean?
Well, I see the root order, and then the nominalizing and then auf.
No, you wouldn't have a double
Kind of
F
like out.
if it were the root order. You do have that string of letters, but if it were that,
Oh, yeah.
you wouldn't have a double F before it. So,
Oh, yes. So it must be actually Forder.
good.
Oh, you've written that here. Forder.
There, yeah. Auffordern. There it is.
So what is Forder?
Things related to further, but auffordern means to demand something of someone, challenge someone. Let's find a good set of many meanings. Do you want fordern or the compound or the root word? I guess let's look at both.
Yes.
Ask, request, invite. Auffordern. So a nice transcription here into IPA. A glottal stop initial because it's the accented syllable. Fordern. And the R really vocalizes to this kind of pharyngally sounding ah.
Auffordern.
Fordern. It really depends on the dialect. The kind of German that I grew up hearing and speaking is kind of ah sound. Fordern. It doesn't color the dental consonants the way you have in Swedish and Norwegian. Not our n where it retroflexes, but the R vocalizes here. Fordern. So that's and fordern on its own, that's the compound. To demand, to ask, claim, require, and challenge. And all transitive. Fordert. Gefordert with auxiliary haben. This is good info, right? Not gefordert. Yeah, because it's transitive, it's got to be haben. Aufforderung. So, next one, please. Oh, there's actually two examples for that. The next one.
Okay. Oh, because it's got the informal and the formal.
Yep.
Hören Sie endlich auf.
What's that mean?
Here, what's aufhören?
To stop. So yeah, this is an idiom.
To
You can't
hear,
really get it. It's non-compositional in its meaning. Just a whole piece.
Okay.
You can't really get there from the root meaning of hearing and the root meaning of auf. Stop verbing.
Aufhören.
So not to stop a thing or a person, but to cease from doing something.
But then there is no verb that it is telling us to stop. Endlich is not a verb.
True. It doesn't need one. If it's understood, right? This is not meant to be a self-contained text. It's just a string of words that you might have in a certain context. If the person knew what it was, what they were being asked to stop doing, usually pretty good.
So, like, stop doing that, we would translate the sentence as.
Yeah, we can say in English, stop doing it. Yeah. We'll use stop, right? We can use that intransitively, I think, just like we can't eat. Seems to me. Okay, next one. Different type.
Ausrufersatz.
Good. Perfect stress there.
Uneingeleitet.
Hold on.
Or is that part of the
That's the next
Nebensatz?
thing. That's the next unit. Let's do the example and translate all that.
Ausrufersatz. Ist das eine Hitze?
Sehr gut.
So that is a shouting out sentence. The exclamation one.
Yes, a calque on the Latin.
Oh, we say Ausrufe in
exactly.
Latin. We say. Okay.
Well, shouting out. They have Ausrufe. That's right. That's out. I was looking wrong place.
Exclamare.
Exactly. Yep. A calque for us there to brighten our day. So many people might not know what a calque is. It's a loaned translation. So instead of borrowing the actual form itself, which German also does, multiplizieren is from a Latin verb, Latin compound. And here we've got which one was it? ausrufen with that separable word, fusible positional. Ausrufen. Rufen is to call, and aus means outward. Exclamation.
It's funny how calc and loanword took examples
Cross
of each other.
Exactly. Loanword is where you borrow the sound of the thing itself, take it in as an English word. Like exclamation, that was taken into English from Latin. It has a structure within Latin, not really within English, although these pieces also occur in other English words. But German uses its native components that express those same meanings.
Brot.
Okay, so what is eine Hitze?
Oh, okay. Hitze is the abstract noun from heiß. And I have to use... Okay, let me do SZ instead. That's where I would use SZ. So in a case like
Heiß as in hot, or heiß as in the name, the verb with the name?
The former.
Okay. So a noun, an abstract noun of warmth, of hotness.
Of hot, good. So our structure is hot plus nominalizer, the logical structure of it. And Hitz is an allomorph of the basic form, which is heiß. So in my system, AE for ash, single letter, maybe a C for the final here. That's my underlying form for this adjective stem, heiß. And here, the underlying form would be Hitze, and it's that nasalized E. Hitze for the abstract noun. So, to denote this kind of change, I think it's important. You could really make. Look, so let me back up a step. In Hitze, you've got that short vowel sound in a closed syllable. Hitze, Hitze. So that's interesting, right? That's why I put the double C there. So it occupies two positions. But that is, it's just a doubling of a consonant. If you had a symbol that said double a consonant, you could put that there instead, and you could derive these unusual pairs like this.
Okay.
Okay, what's the meaning of that's a little excursion there of the whole thing. Ist das eine Hitze?
So that is a I guess I don't know the abstract noun of hot. A heat.
That's it.
Okay.
That is the abstract noun, the quality. Noun of quality built on the adjective.
Okay.
Ist das eine Hitze? What's it mean?
What?
Ist das eine Hitze?
Yeah.
What's it mean?
A heat.
What does the whole sentence mean, pragmatically? What do you get from it?
Okay. Like that's a heat, like, oh, that's really hot or something.
Yeah, that's basically. Okay, next one. Uneingeleitet.
Uneingeleitete Nebensatz.
Sehr gut.
Ist sie auch intelligent? So,
Intelligent.
isn't that one of those French words? Intelligent.
Historically, yes, but not phonologically. Intelligent.
Oh.
Maybe it could just be taken directly from Latin. So maybe regard it there.
Okay.
There's none of the later sound effects of French. We do have restaurant, right, where it's a bit Francified, but not in this word.
And intéressant, which is more close to this word.
I've never heard a German speaker use that form. I've always heard it with a nasal consonant. Interessant.
That's how we learned it in school. Okay.
So what's the meaning here? It's not really apparent. There's a sort of implied meaning. Ist sie intelligent? So, Pünktchen. Because that's not a complete utterance.
So, like, she is so intelligent that Oh.
See,
Right,
again. No, it looks like that, but the zo is introducing a consequence, and the implied meaning is if.
Mhm.
Just like we do in English too. We can say if she comes. Yeah, with
Mhm.
single verb it doesn't work. Does she come? Should she come? Then, and that has the meaning of if she comes, right? Even though there is no word if, it has that same sort of setup. That's what's going on here. And the zo introduces the consequence.
Okay.
Next thing, please.
Irreale Wunschsatz.
And the
Wäre sie doch hier.
Wäre sie doch hier. The uneingeleitete belongs to that too. Uneingeleitete irreale Wunschsatz. That's a mouthful. What's that mean? Uneingeleitete irreale Wunschsatz. And the ending there reminds me.
Light. That wasn't the unmember one, was it?
Member is Mitglied or Glied. We have.
Yeah, not Geleit.
Not following. Can you type it?
What, Glied?
No, yeah, whatever you're referring to.
Okay. Was similar to this. Geleitete. Okay.
I thought you were typing it. I guess you're not.
I am.
You are, okay.
Here we go.
Geleit.
They have the G, L, and D sound.
Yeah, I suppose. But a D
So
and a T, a D and a T are always distinct things.
No, I don't think they're the same word.
Right.
I just
okay,
had them mixed up in my brain.
I see. So lighten, we can.
They're close enough. My brain confused me.
Okay, we're good. A good observation. So let's take a moment to think. How can we avoid making that association? How do we break that false and I think not helpful? If you find it helpful, by all means. But with the geleitet, we have an inflected form of it. What's the root of it, and what does the root mean?
The root, I think, would be light. Right?
Lighten, yeah. Can't really, yeah, light would be for the root itself. Oops.
Or to lead.
Exactly. En in the spelling, but a weak n syllable there. Lighten. And the T, not really released at the tongue tip, more of a glottal stop for me in my speech. Lighten. Like we do in English too, in button. Similar action, lighten. And so the participle of that. And there the T of the German matches exactly the D of English that Grimm predicts, or that he expressed. Whereas Glied, Glieda, is it related to limb? I don't know. Should we take a moment to find out further connections of that word? The G is that same. Wish. Yeah, the G is that same prefix. Glied, lith in English, which hasn't come down, I guess, and lither in Norse, member. Oh, eyelid? No. Could it be? Noshk. Alright. Member. But, sometimes the vowel of the G prefix will drop. There's also Glück, which matches our luck, but our luck lacks the prefix and is not umlauted. Okay, shirt gain.
Linje.
Not hearing the palatalization on the L.
Shoe broke.
This is a shoe. This is a potato shoe.
Skirt.
With the devoicing R. Okay, but let's continue with the German. Wäre sie doch hier. What does that part mean?
Let's see. Oh, I think this is like the subjunctive or something, which I don't know very well.
Okay, let's discuss the subjunctive. That's what it is.
I think a meaning of this sentence would be something like, if only she were here.
That's exactly it. What does uneingeleiteter irrealer Wunschsatz mean, that whole phrase?
We didn't get to what was the meaning of uneingeleiteter.
Yeah, you've got all the pieces, I think. Ein was the stress from inward into, and then leiten is the root of it.
Lead.
Except it's not those three directly together. Eingeleitet is baked together first, and the is added to the outer part of that. Make sense?
Right, yes.
You have further structure within, but you get the idea. Yeah, let me just make it
clear. Does it change the meaning? Is eingeleitet, is that different than the compositional meaning?
Different than the compositional meaning. I don't follow.
So, is it just led in, or is it like did the meaning change a little when we stuck them together?
Introduce.
Okay.
With the negative.
So basically the same. Okay. So unintroduced, irreal. How do we say? I think we say that like this in English. I think irrealis or something, right?
I have heard irrealis or just non-real, non-realis, irrealis. We do say no irrealis. Okay. So, but what is not real? And Wunschsatz, what's that?
The Wunschsatz, the wish sentence.
Good. So an unintroduced, counterfactual wish sentence. Wäre sie doch hier. But let's spend a moment on the form. What verb does that remind you of? Wäre. I think
it's like war.
War, which is a form of what verb?
So war is what from sein? It's
Sein.
like the past tense of to be.
Yep, exactly right. So in the way I would piece these together, wäre, you have your past tense only variant for the whole root. And it's got an e suffixed to it. Actually, and then there's also past tense. So the past tense substitution, I'm going to do this derivation backwards. Here are the phonetic pieces of the first one. Va and 0, of course. And sein has the original root, the basic root there. Sei plus anon for infinitive.
Okay.
And this va comes from sei with past tense marking, my capital T. So it's really three pieces in this analysis for wäre. Your basic root, and then the stem type, I guess, which can either be with a T suffix, an actual phonetic suffix, or done with ablaut. And that is then mutated because you have an E at the end. So that'll palatalize the consonant group to the left of it. That's how you get wäre.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to the next page, shall we?
Oh, I wanted to try again to translate this.
Excellent.
Although I translated it well, a more literal translation, which would sound kind of archaic in English. Where's she but here?
Yes, exactly, yeah. That's perfectly cromulent to me.
It sounds kind of archaic, I think.
Oh. Sei, be. Okay. If only she were here. Would that she were here. Our would takes the English auxiliary. Would takes on a lot of the functions and meanings, expresses the meanings of the conjunctive, which is what this one they call it. Conjunctive.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it were so simple. Exactly. This one praeteritum, and sein, of course, infinitive.
Okay, you want me to read the next one now?
I do, but actually, let's do the indefinite article.
Okay.
And we're going to note the order weiblich. So as weiblich. How will that go? With an adjective following.
Oh, yeah. It goes weiblich, and what is neuter called?
Oh,
Sächlich.
Yeah. Mehr
Singly.
Kingly, yeah, exactly. And then MZ Mehrzahl. Weiblich, sächlich, männlich, Mehrzahl makes the most efficient ordering, I think. Sächlich, Einzahl. Oh, that's not. Ein is the stem. What comes at this position?
We're doing just how ein itself goes, not ein with an adjective.
No, the adjective too. How does ein go and what's on the adjective?
Okay. So ein, and then
Weiblich.
weiblich, it should be eine.
Then the adjective stem, and at the end of that, what sort of increment there? Genau, just a vowel. Sächlich.
So in this case, they match. Sächlich is just ein, and then the increment.
If you said it, I didn't hear you. After
The sächlich form is just ein,
Okay.
and then the increment is s.
Well, yeah, spelling es. Ein gutes Auto, not Guts, right? The e's got to be there actually. Männlich, Einzahl, erster Fall.
Männlich is just ein, and this time the augment is
Genau, Mehrzahl. Mehrzahl, erster Fall. Mehrzahl, erster Fall. Let's do it with kein.
And then for Mehrzahl, we have to switch from ein to kein because it doesn't semantically make sense.
Got it.
With ein. So you get keine, and then the increment is n.
Keine guten Männer. There we go. Okay, zweiter Fall.
Oh, in fact, for the entire Mehrzahl column, it's the same. En as our increment.
Capital noticing. Let me take advantage of that. Like this. Get those ready. We're always going to end that way. All four cases. All right. Weiblich, zweiter Fall, bitte.
Eine.
Yeah, let's
So
make it a
same
real.
as the nominative.
Let's use gut as the adjective, just to be uttering meaning.
Okay. Eine gute.
Sächlich.
Ein gutes.
Männlich.
Einen guten. Keine guten.
Keine guten. Okay, dritter Fall. Weiblich.
That makes it a lot easier to say it too. Good. It's actually just putting it on a word.
Yeah.
Should be eine guten.
Einer guten.
Einem guten.
I'm just going to use a single letter. Space, maybe that's ugly.
Einem guten. Keinen guten.
Not quite. In fact, no. Gotta say that is incorrect.
It's not keinen guten.
What case are we at? Oh, we're on the day. You are correct. Keinen guten.
Yeah.
Weiblich, vierter Fall.
Einer guten. Eines guten. Eines guten. Keine guten.
Keiner guten. All right, good. Okay, there we go. Oops. That's not going. So the pattern is for the adjective, it's always en in the plural, ending in n in the plural, and the bottom three for the masculine, and the bottom two for the other guys. So the full bottom half of the paradigm is just n ending. All right. Having done that, let's
Bråk orm.
to Spannsatz.
Okay, the Spannsatz. Hang on, let me get some water real quick.
Absolutely. I will do some Scottish. I have a shoe on me. Orm fusion.
Shall. Has skirt orm.
Skirt orm. Shell.
Shell.
I have a skirt on.
Oh, let me get some more.
No,
Der
everyone, take-
Spansatz.
Okay. Dozo.
Chanel leanje tea orm.
Der Spannsatz.
I'm gonna make a pouring sound too.
Gaan je tea orm.
I poured some more water. Okay. Good. Das finite Verb steht an der letzten Stelle, also am Satzende.
Gut. Was heißt es? Was bedeutet das?
The finite verb stands at the last place, also, or therefore at the sentence end.
Therefore. Okay, nächster Satz bitte.
Eine Ausnahme besteht bei der Ausklammerung
Sehr gut.
sowie bei zusammengesetzten Verbformen mit modalen Hilfsverben Sätze des Typs
that
mit
looked like
dem
a it looks
Verb.
like, hold on. That looks like a
Oh, is
comma,
that a
but it's
period?
it's a period. Let's translate.
Okay.
Eine Ausnahme besteht bei der Ausklammerung sowie bei zusammengesetzten Verbformen mit modalen Hilfsverben. What is not so well known there?
Shell. Shell. Halenia orm.
Ausnahme. I feel like I know. I've seen it before. It's obviously from nehmen, to
Nehmen.
take, and out.
Good. Exception. And out-taking.
I don't know what it can mean together. Oh, exception.
It's
okay.
a calc.
So an exception
Levi.
is the Ausklammerung. Wait, let me just read the whole thing and see if I can parse it.
But look in the chat real quick for a little mnemonic. It's another calc.
Exception. Okay, is this a calc one then?
That's what I keep saying. I guess maybe let me plug in my mic. Make myself clear. It'll just take a second.
Okay.
What else is not so well known?
Let's see. What is an Ausklammerung?
Do you remember Klammer? It's a noun. Uh-oh. I think those are Amber Alerts.
No, but my notes do.
Good. Halenia Autumn, I have a shirt on.
Halenia Autumn.
Like a bracket or a clamp or
That's
something.
right. A bracket. Good. And Ausklammern. What was the structure again? Besteht bei der Ausklammerung sowie bei zusammengesetzten Verbformen. I don't actually know what that's referring to. Ausklammern.
Okay. Sowie.
We'll learn.
Ooh, another. I don't know the compositional meaning. Though.
Okay.
Another part.
If I hand you a word knife and tell you chop this word in the most vulnerable spot, where would that be? It breaks into two.
Zo and V, which I know both individually, but I don't know them together.
As well as. As well as.
Oh, that makes sense.
Sowie.
As well as. By the together geset verb forms with modal helping verbs.
Modal helping verbs. So, zusammengesetzt. What are the mean? Where would your word sword? What joint would it attack there?
Zusammen.
Shell. Linie T.
Gesetzen.
Get that doesn't exist. Very close.
Gesetzen is not a word.
It is not a thing. Well, it's a form of the noun laws, but that's not what we are dealing with here. There is no word gesetzen as a verb.
Okay. Zusammengesetzen.
No. Look again really closely at the ending there.
Oh, this is plural. No, wait.
Bei zusammengesetzt. Zusammengesetzt, exactly.
Oh, that en is just one of our increments.
Yes. I mean, you could regard it as a morpheme if you like, but they're all so homophonous that it's kind of boring thinking. I don't know. This appeals to my analysis, my sense of elegance better to have it as a meaningless bit. But yeah, it's one of those. That's an ending, an inflectional one, or inflectional looking. And gesetzt with that T at the end of the cluster, that's where the derivational part ends, the stem. Zusammengesetzt.
Okay. Why the term increment for these little non-suffixal endings?
Because to me they don't really carry, they're not agreement marks. They don't carry any meaning in here. They're just it's hard to really explain, I guess.
What if you called them meaningless augments?
Yeah, that's the same idea. Augment or increment, I think of those as being interchangeable.
Okay. I just went to say augment, and then I was like, wait, no, I think you called them increments.
Oh, yeah. I don't really see any distinction there. If there is, it's not an important one. Zusammen, though, looking at that, that's kind of interesting. We do have accented zu in like zunehmen, increase, versus zusammen, that's unaccented. Maybe not in a verb, though. Zusammen. Okay,
so is Samen a word on its own?
No, that's kind of a lost root. We also have samt, an adverbial, I think, meaning like together with. But I don't know if it's Zamen. We do have Zammeln, which is connected. I think the Indo-European root is sem, meaning one. Zammeln, to gather into one place.
Oh, Zammeln, to collect. Okay.
Other words would be related words, English same, Greek homos. Assemble, simul. Do you know this Latin word? Simul. What's it mean?
Simul, yeah.
What does simul mean?
Like the same, I think, right?
At the same time. It's where we get simultaneous. So let's see what the dictionary says. No, we're not there yet. Let's do zusammen. Let's go up a level. Or any other words you're not clear on? Let's translate clause to clause, or especially that word zusammengesetzten Verbformen, that phrase.
Okay. Yeah, zusammengesetzten Verbformen means together set verb forms.
What does that mean?
Verb forms that are kind of... Oh, specifically, they are things that are set together with modal helping verb.
Okay, there's a better way to translate set together.
Yes.
What do we call that? Think in terms of a calc again.
Together. How do you say together?
In Latin.
Yes.
In
How do you say set? Again, I don't know what my notes were.
Okay, what's the Latin positional one for together?
Shaul. Habrokorum.
Similar. We just saw. Right?
No, there's a compoundy, prefixy component. Not that a stem is a root, meaning one, here in the dictionary there. But I'm talking about for zusammensetzen.
Oh, I think I just figured it out.
Okay.
Constituent.
Not quite.
Banding together, no? But con is the prefix, right?
That's the one. Oh, I shouldn't use the dot. It's not meant
It's
to
not, it didn't censor it though, so that's
Okay,
fine.
good. So we get an excrescent, a noun from this with an excrescent D at the end, and this Latin verb has some inflectional weirdness in having a stem allomorph like this. Composition.
Oh, but when I
and compound.
When I tried to click on it, it took me to the website com-pon.ere. It's not a valid website.
I would be surprised. So, Levi, compound, composite. Meaning?
Composite verb forms with a modal helping verb.
Or auxiliary.
Oh, with modal help verb.
Yeah, that's right. Plural, good.
Auxiliary, that's the Latin form of helping verb.
Yep. From the word
Auxiliar in Spanish is, I think, a fancier version of ayudar.
Very good. Next one, whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Or, yeah, did we get it? An example is when you have extrusion from brackets, but I'm not sure what they mean by that, but they've got a reference coming up in 3 pages, so wie bei, as well as with compound verbs with modal auxiliaries. Okay, next one, when you're ready.
Ha skirt orm.
Sentences, I'm saying what it says.
If you would.
Sätze des Typs mit dem Verb am Satzende nennen wir Spannsätze.
Gut.
Strichpunkt. Sie kommen vor als konjunktional
Perfect.
eingeleitete Nebensätze, eingeleitete irreale Wunschsätze, Relativsätze sowie Ausrufesätze mit einem Fragepronomen, Frageadverb.
Wonderful.
Wir vergleichen.
Okay, yeah. Let's not
that's the next one.
Let's not vergleich just yet, but good, excellent pronunciation. Sätze des Typs mit dem Verb am Satzende. We could contrast it there, but generally it should be Satzende. As you said, nennen wir Spannsätze. Sie kommen vor, that's an idiom or a chunk meaningfully together, als konjunktional eingeleitete Nebensätze. Let's think about those endings in that long phrase and what they tell us. Eingeleitete irreale Wunschsätze, wish sentences again. Relativsätze, good, with the primary stress being on tief, sowie Ausrufesätze mit einem Fragepronomen, Frageadverb. So generally verb have. As right, unsuffixed, it's going to be roughly this pronunciation. I'll use capital E for epsilon. Verb.
Yeah.
As you did. Okay, what's that mean? What are some words that are less familiar there?
This is the type
Shall
of the verb
ha orm.
Okay.
Shall.
Eingeleitete, which was, it?
Ha skirt orm.
Introduced. Konjunktional, what part of speech is it?
Konjunktional. Well, does it help if I say it has a zero ending on it and that it's modifying the following word?
Yeah, so that's what I thought. It's the adverb.
That's exactly right. Konjunktional, initial stress there. Conjunction would have it on the suffix. Conjunctional. Oh, maybe there too at the ending. Conjunctional. Sorry, that's right.
Now,
Word final
what's
for
interesting
uh-huh.
is that word is not calqued. It's just loaned in from
Yes,
Latin.
they do have plenty of Latin words in German too, but not to they didn't go as crazy as English did with importing Latin words. And so for this type of origin, we might call Franco-Latin, the general tendency is to put the stress at the end, but I'm really interested in what conditions the exception is to that. I think a big part of that is probably at what stage, like just historically, what year it started to be used in German that might determine it there. Okay, please translate when you're ready, or what else is unclear?
No, and I know word types are types of sentences. Okay, sentences of the types with the verb on at the sentence end are these following are the types.
Kind of.
Spansätze.
Hold on though. What does nennen mean? Nennen.
Ooh. It's tickling in my brain.
Here is an ancestral form of it, namnoyanan. It's a denominative from nama, the name, to name something.
Okay. They are named.
We call them.
Spansa. Spansätze,
Like
which
arc
is
sentence, yeah, arc clause.
So that's these kind of sentences that this paragraph is about.
Spansätze.
Yes.
Sie kommen vor. What's that mean?
I don't know, but I hope my notes do. That's a span sentence.
Oh, right. The spanning sentence. Spanning clause. Vorkommen is separable, so really a separate word. A fusible word. To appear. Show up.
Okay.
Occur actually is better.
They appear.
Occur is probably the best one. Kommen is to come, and the root of occur, curro, is to run. Run against me. Run at me. So not really a calque, but same sort of word structure, directional with a verb root compound.
Okay. A pseudocalque, we could say.
Maybe, yeah. A paracalque. The penumbra of calcdom.
Oh, that's a better phrase.
Underpants.
Drash.
Yes. Okay, vorkommen kommen vor als konjunktional eingeleitete Nebensätze. Mouthful.
They occur as conjunctional introduced.
The adverb there, remember? Conjunction.
Nebensätze.
Uh-huh.
Oh, conjunctionally.
That's right, the lead.
Introduced. Nebensätze. And that is a subordinate clause.
Exactly, yeah. We use a different metaphor for that. Instead of next to is the root meaning of neben, we use under, or built in underneath.
Okay.
But that's the idea. Dependent also
introduced called. Irrealis with sentences.
Relativsätze.
Relative sentences.
Really, yeah, or clauses.
As well as shouting out sentences. Exclamation.
Exclamation clauses. Mit einem Fragepronomen, Frageadverb.
With a question pronoun or question adverb.
Very nice. Okay, vergleichen wir. Wir vergleichen. So each time the word is at the leftmost margin, that's a new entry, I think.
Okay. When you say vergleichen, I see the root gleich.
Yes, good. What's the English cognate?
And the prefix.
That's right, a prefix that cannot bear stress. Very good. Vergleich.
I know the meaning of gleich, but I'm not sure I know the English cognate.
It is like, another one where there's no prefix preserved. So coming from likam, the body, there too. Gleich as a compound meant having the same body. One of the functions of that g or ge prefix, it corresponds in form as well as meaning to the Latin cum or cum, together with. So having the same body, I think, is the root idea of gleich. Gali
Okay.
is the ancestral form there. Galika.
Okay. Oh, it censored something again.
Oh,
But
right,
I
because
figured
I
out
used
what it is from that.
Galika. That's Proto-Germanic form for the adjective there. And it's really a bahuvrihi, having same body. At its root is how
No. It the thing that it censored was this
Uh-huh.
alternate form of the Latin prefix.
That makes a sense.
But I can see why it did.
Both of them.
So,
Ha
konjunktional
orm.
eingeleiteter Nebensatz.
Nebensätze.
Dass morgen kommt.
Oh, no, those are different things. First one is just konjunktional. Then the next thing is eingeleiteter. Yeah.
Konjunktional.
Yeah.
Dass morgen kommt.
Exactly. So it's considering das as a conjunction. I tend to think of it as a, what's it called? Complementizer.
Okay.
It's like our English that does that. That's.
But they both combine clauses. Both a
That,
complementizer and a conjunction can combine clauses.
well, if it's a subordinating thing, is it really combining? I wonder if combining is the right word. To my mind, combining means like conjoining, like and. Is that what the das do? You know what I mean? It depends how you define it.
It combines them, though it doesn't put them on an equal status, right? That's the difference.
Yeah.
On a conjunction, they're at equal level, and on a complementizer, one is subordinated with the other.
Exactly, that's my.
But they're still together.
Merged, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's with that caveat. Dass morgen kommt. So this is not a complete thought by itself, but ich verspreche dir, dass morgen kommt, or something. I promise you
that he comes in the morning.
Not in the morning, that he's coming tomorrow.
Or possibly tomorrow.
Yeah, in the morning would be.
How do we know whether morgen means tomorrow or the morning?
If it has an S ending on it, that's going to be in the morning. Generally, without any marking, just that root, that word on its own, morgen means tomorrow. Unless it's clearly at the head of a noun phrase, der Morgen as a noun is the morning. But in the spelling, if it's correctly.
How would you say the tomorrow?
Das Morgen, I guess. I don't know. Is that meaningful?
I don't know.
Good question, though.
Just curious.
Der morgige Tag, you could say. This nice sort of ad hoc derivation of an adjective from an adverb with truncation. Morgige. Der morgige Tag.
Oh, and we have. Okay, so we're chopping off the en, so we just have the root morg, and then we're adding our ich suffix, and then we're adding our augment
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's my view, my analysis of it.
Oh, no. Okay. Eingeleiteter Nebensatz. Weil sie das Bier getrunken hat.
Genau, sehr gut. Gute Aussprache. What's it mean?
Our subordinate sentence, or clause perhaps, because she the beer drunken has drunk the beer.
Because she's drunk the beer. So weil there.
Notice there's the word order is different than English.
Yep, exactly right. It's a finite verb and it's at the end. We will only really see that in English if it's intransitive, I think.
Wait a minute. Eingeleiteter. This is just eingeleiteter. Wenn sie doch Zeit hätte.
Wenn sie doch Zeit hätte.
If she had some time.
If she only had time. Wenn sie doch Zeit hätte.
Okay.
If only she had time.
We don't really have a word like doch in English, do
Well,
we?
we have a sort of matching one, but its function is different. Though is the morphologically the closest one to it. But like I say, different functions.
Yeah, that doesn't behave in the same way.
I think it's true to say, I mean, it makes sense to me to say, it sounds right to say that German has a class of these emotive particles that English has no equivalents for. They're hard to convey.
They're nice. I like them.
Yeah, me too.
And this is our irreale Wunschsatz.
Eingeleitet. Wenn sie doch Zeit hätte. That's right.
Wenn bloß gekommen wäre.
Bloß. So this is according to the new orthography, the new spelling. The SZ tells you that the vowel there is long. It's much more helpful than the old, seemingly random spelling. Bloß.
Bloß.
Wenn bloß gekommen wäre.
What's bloß?
Only. Just.
If she only were coming.
Not quite. That would be something like käme.
Hey.
No, it's not that. Gekommen wäre. It's irreal.
If she only were to come.
Gekommen wäre. Gekommen will only be in a future meaning if it's a passive. Wenn sie bloß gekommen wäre. Not future.
If she only would have come.
That's it. If only she had come, if she only would have come. Exactly. Gekommen wäre. And this brings us back to the point of the conjunctive. Name of it, subjunctive we call it. Same root. All right. This is going to be pretty abstract, but let's just touch on the topic of conjunctive. We'll look at some present tense forms. Here is a paradigm constructed today for haben. Präs means present tense, Präsens. Maybe we could call it Gegenwartsform. Gegenwart. Vergangenheit. To get it more native-like. Habe. The basic form, I think, is this. Habist. There we have a special change occurring. The B weakens and deletes when it meets the sound E. Habist and habit become hast and hat. And there's the plural there too, less interesting. Now, Vergangenheit, the cover symbol for all of the ways of expressing preterite. I want to use that Tür rune. Maybe I can do it here. Maybe it'll show up. Let's find the one I want.
Well, I find you do have a rune somewhere else on this document, so it seems that Google can handle a few runes.
Good, yeah. Let's do that. That'll be more fun to see. This upward arrow looking one is the runic T letter.
Oh, it's just a T with the horizontal bar on the top just kind of drooped down on the side.
Yeah, that's right. An arrowhead looking one.
Mm-hmm.
So what the T marking does, when you suffix that with this particular root hab, you get an unusual outcome. You get a fusion on a long T sound, hatte. The B itself is not reflected anymore, but maybe the long consonant sort of indirectly reflects it. Hatte.
Yeah, what if this was going to be my guess, if the B just assimilates and becomes the T. That's what I always imagined.
It certainly looks like it, doesn't it? And habe has a long vowel. Hast and hat, those are short, but hatte is definitely short. So most verbs don't behave like that. Okay, we got all our Türs in there. Then we have the conjunctive eins. This is in the form of German that I am familiar with, not very frequent. Er sagt, er sei, er sagt, er habe. It's noteworthy for having a zero ending. All right, here's that phi rune tells me umlaut cannot pass, shall not pass. It's the dreaded knight from the Monty Python. What was the Black Knight? Hab I it is the underlying form. It in this in any but the present really always weakens, so I put a thorn there. Just imagining that as a sort of transitional stage on the way out. Now it's habe, habe. Now the conjunctive zwei is much more frequently used for me, and it also has that past tense stem form. So I express that as T as well as E, both present as suffixes
Okay, so
in that order.
you managed to have one set of endings, which then you put this one in the middle to distinguish
Yes.
what tense.
What happened on the way. That's right. This is sort of my mimicry of Panini's technique of conceptualizing verbal, word structure, in this case verbs. You've got a basic root. There may be some mutations to derive certain stems, so you use a cover symbol and then express by nested exceptions what all consequences that has. You have your basic list of suffixes, and then those can have their variants and replacements too, and augmentation and all that, until you get the actually occurring word forms. Those are what the priest needs to know if he's conducting a sacrifice. He needs to just know what the right verb form is with no doubt. So that's why you need a generative grammar. It'd be millions upon millions of possible word forms if you were to spell them all out. Wouldn't have the time. So that's why you need rules. Modern German verb morphology is quite a bit simpler. These are basically all the inflected forms on this nice little compact paradigm. And then plural, of course.
Do you have the ones which you consider to be not verbs because they do not behave like verbs?
What do you mean?
The infinitive and the
Yes.
The one that has GE on the front and
Yes.
the T in the back.
It should show up on your screen any second now. Very good question. Yeah, I've got them down below here. Maybe give that a colored roof or something. Give it a nice purple color there. So for the infinitive haben, the surface form on the bottom, a little confusing, but the outcome of all changes. Haben, and then here's just a little reminder that it's an initial increment. Ga I regard as the basic, and that vowel raises. Gehabt. I spell a little bit surfacey though by devoicing the P. Gehabt. This one, unlike the past tense one, where you get the long T, this one you have the labial still preserved as a labial stop. And my cover symbol there is ant for that nasal that drops out, although sometimes you do keep a vowel there, and the U rune there tells me to prefix the ga.
Does that have a ga in it anywhere, or?
Gehabt is the form.
So at u means ga, and then root, and then T?
Exactly. The U is there as a sort of special magic letter, and that's what it tells you, to add that increment.
Okay.
That's something Panini uses his its for.
Okay. Do you use u elsewhere to indicate like using the noun deriving ga at the front?
Right. That's right. This was the paradigms one. Excellent question. In the very first spreadsheet from the other day, started with a short list of nominal stems that the grammar would either posit as basic, so with berg as the root, berg underliningly voiced, suffix to that eu gives the form Gebilge. So I'm going to use interchangeably the U rune, the oryx rune, or a nasalized capital U to show the it quality of the thing.
Why do you use an u rune to indicate add ga on the front?
Why not?
Well, why not use a ga rune?
Well, it can cause confusion, and Panini never does it that way. Is my short answer. I do sort of cheat with the T, that tur rune. I am sort of doing that. It does give a T as one of its forms. The one we saw in haben, right? Hatten is the outcome. Okay, so clear on the infinitive participle here. Maybe I like a different color for that too. They're on a different footing. Now I don't want to merge. Give it a nice light blue. Haben gehabt. Alright. Here, hop. Might also include a surface variant that we had in my variety of spoken speech with a short vowel, hop, ich hop, where the final vowel drops. That happens with dative nouns too, and with first singular present verbs. But in the conjunctive eins, it would always be there, habe. So those ich habe present and ich habe conjunctive, they look alike. Their underlying structure is different. Right? Each position in the paradigm essentially has its own distinctive underlying structure, with the exception that wir and sie forms have the same suffix. They're always homophonous. Haben, haben, hatten, hatten. And so when you see the Tür rune, you're getting a long T with this verb. Now in werden, you've also got the same rune added, but the effect is replace the vowel with this particular root. So you're going to have rules that say with verbs da-da-da, this happens, and with verbs like werden, you got vowel replacement. So is how I'm writing that the vowel u replaces just the vowel sound. In other cases, you replace the whole rhyme of the syllable. But in this case, it's just a sort of one place switch. So you get wurde.
Okay.
U is the vowel that's inserted, and wurde is the outcome here. And then in the conjunctive 2, which is formally very similar to the preterite, easy for me to say. Over here, it's würde, ich würde, and that's got your root form here doesn't change. It's got the T rune that replaces the vowel of the root with u. It's got the E to cause umlaut, so your outcome has the sound Ü in it, würde. Du würdest, würde. This final T underlyingly is also dropped. That is my answer to the question. WWPD, what would Panini do?
Okay, you could even develop more sutras to go from your final form into the spelling.
Yeah, to the spelling for one, and then even further, like allegro forms of speech, colloquial, regional variants, that kind of stuff. That's how I envision it too. This is really just an intermediate stage here. What I put as the output. The U should be replaced only with the short one, the hoof shape, but I'm writing a bit more phonemically here. That's where we're at there. Okay, let me do one of Scottish, and then let's do another in the grammatic book, if that sounds good to you. Habotanan.
Oh, we didn't quite finish. There was one sentence or clause left.
Okay, which one?
That I didn't
Wenn
read.
bloß gekommen wäre? Yeah, that's where we left off.
Ausrufesatz.
Ausrufsatz, okay.
Was sie alles kann.
Was sie alles kann, right. Was sie alles kann.
alles kann.
Yeah, like that. What would that mean pragmatically? What's your guess or understanding there?
What she everything can.
What does that mean?
So how can we make that anything? She can do everything.
Yeah, that kind of thing. A sort of admiring exclamation. Oh my, she can do everything. Can't she do everything? Something like that. Okay, die Anmerkung bitte.
In zahlreichen Arbeiten der generativen Grammatik wird Grammatik
Yeah, that one's unusual.
wird diese Endstellung des finiten Verbs im Spannsatz als die eigentliche Grundstellung, als der im eigentlichen Sinn unmarkierte Satztyp
Sehr gut.
angesehen.
Angesehen. Excellent pronunciation. Yeah, just that one, the unexpected stress in grammatik was the only point to improve there. So, in zahlreichen Arbeiten der generativen Grammatik, all loanwords rather than calcs, wird diese Endstellung des finiten Verbs im Spannsatz als die eigentliche Grundstellung, als der im eigentlichen Sinn unmarkierte Satztyp angesehen. Angesehen, a nice compound with the separable fusible, the participle there. Wird angesehen. How would we say that idiomatically in English? This verbal meaning.
But angesehen?
Genau diese.
Which word?
Yeah, that's the one. Genau. Angesehen.
Oh. I don't know. To see, on, to see, at.
Right. It's a good equation with C for the root, but this one is transitive. Etwas ansehen is the sort of core kernel meaning of the verb. So this sehen, it means look as well as to see.
Okay.
I guess see is transitive too, but ansehen, regard as. Regarder, from French, it has a Germanic root though, the warden root.
Okay. Do you regard the English phrasal verbs similarly to these German ones with the particle
Do, yeah.
that is univerb?
Certainly some parallels, yeah. Univerbed, that's right.
Okay. In
Univerb.
zahlreiche.
Okay.
I know Zahl is
Good.
like to do with numbers.
Good.
So the number-rich
Yep.
work of the generative grammar.
Exactly. Beautiful compound. Reich an, and it, yeah, literally kind of breaks down. It's not rich in number, but what would we say idiomatically?
Plentiful.
Plentiful. Good, yeah.
No.
Numerous. Plentiful. That's the idea.
Number-rich.
Ja, zahlreich. In zahlreichen Arbeiten der generativen Grammatik wird diese Endstellung des finiten Verbs im Spannsatz.
Will the ending place of the finite verb in the spans?
Not will. This is not a future wird. Wird angesehen. That's our Satzklammer.
Oh, that is I forgot what it's called. Where
Passive
you say like, das Haus wird gebaut. Where it means the house is being built. So passive.
Passive, genau. That's the construction we're dealing with. Wird. Okay, what's the subject? Wird angesehen is the angesehen als da da da.
The way I tend to think of this structure, and you can feel free to disagree, but wird has like a future meaning, and then the angesehen is like a past participle. So the future and the past like cancel each other out and make present tense.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So it is regarded as.
And what's the subject?
So the numerous work of the.
Hold on.
Generative.
Hold on. What is the subject? What's the subject here?
Oh, diese Einstellung.
Genau.
These end places.
The placement in final position is the idea.
Okay.
This final place or final positioning, something like that.
These final positioning
not plural.
of the finite verbs.
No, hold on. It's not plural. How do we know it's not plural?
Oh, singular.
Okay, how do we know? Looking at it.
The
words diese, diese, that could be
plural.
Sorry, I spoke over you. Say again?
The Einstellung doesn't have a plural suffix.
True. And there's also the verb wird.
Oh, good point.
Right. Diese Einstellung.
This final place.
Final placing. It's a verbal idea.
Final placing of the finite verbs in the span sentence.
Okay. Als die eigentliche.
Than the.
Not than.
Eigentliche.
Als can function as a than, but it's not. It's doing a different job here. It's no longer the subject. The subject has ended.
It means like. Here, I think. Like the. Eigentliche.
Not quite. No, I wouldn't say like.
Okay.
In zahlreichen
What is
Arbeiten,
eigentliche?
eigentlich is based on eigen. It means actual.
Okay.
Oh, it has a t augmented in it, an increment of t, because eigen and lich are
The actual ground placing.
yeah, the basic placement is basic. What do you call it? Ground state.
Underlying.
Yeah, the underlying. That's it.
Position. Is lying down on the ground.
Perhaps, but anyway, not up a level of storied building, but on the ground floor, the ground basic fundamental place.
Okay, so what does als mean in this context?
Yeah, let me read it through one more time, try to make it clear with the intonation. In zahlreichen Arbeiten der generativen Grammatik wird diese Endstellung des finiten Verbs im Spannsatz als die eigentliche Grundstellung angesehen. Die Endstellung wird als die eigentliche Grundstellung angesehen. Is the more kernel-y version of that. Die Endstellung wird angesehen als Endstellung. So nice minimal pair. Entstellen, Entstellung. Entstellung wird angesehen als die Grundstellung. Die eigentliche, the actual. Okay, so this bit that I put in, die Endstellung wird angesehen als die Grundstellung. How would we, to make the function of als clear there? What do you get from it?
Okay. The Endstellung is regarded as the final positioning is regarded as the basic positioning.
Yeah.
Is the underlying.
So als is functioning as our as does, and it's also cognate.
Is
It has other functions too. As soit in Old English. Also are the parts. It's a doublet of that.
As the Eigentlichen.
Actual.
Then
No end there. It's a singular. Als die eigentliche. What case is this? Wird angesehen als die.
Oh yeah, die eigentliche Grundstellung. I was going a little further.
What's the case of die eigentliche?
There should be feminine, singular, and I've not given the correct piece of information yet. Then maybe
It's not then.
accusative.
I think it is.
As.
Den wird angesehen als. Wird angesehen als. No, it would have to be the other option. I think not accusative. But it's not real clear to me.
Nominative.
Yeah, I believe it's nominative. But we can't know for sure. If we had, how could we know it from one from the other? We'd have to see a masculine singular to know.
Okay.
On this point, my instinct abandons me.
Well, I have some good news for you, and it's called the next phrase.
Yep, good. That is good news. Excellent. Okay, can you translate the whole thing? Unmarkiert. Unmarkiert is that too.
Well, I was going to do this
Go
phrase first.
All right.
As the you just told me twice. Let me remember. I can't believe. What letter does it start with?
I'm not sure what you're asking about.
The translation of Eigentlichen. You said it twice, and I.
It's in the chat.
Actually, yeah.
Put it in your notebook, please.
Okay, because actuel means current.
Exactly. A false friend there.
Eigentliche. Actual. actual. Is it adverb or not? Oh, the actual one. Where you not behaving adverbially now. Okay.
You got the answer? It occurs twice that I can see.
Yes. So as the actual Sinn, what is that?
Meaning or sense.
Okay. Is it cognate to our word sense?
Maybe very remotely. Good question.
Because to get the English word, all you'd have to do is unvoice the S at the front and put a ts on the end.
Yeah, I don't think that's a real valid derivational step there. Sent, to feel, is the Indo-European sin. And the question was, for sense, yeah, that is also derived from the sent root, but through Latin and French, I think. Latin.
Okay.
Sense. Cognate, it's part of the same family as sentience and sentence.
Oh. As the actual sense, unmarked sentence type.
No, there's a nice sandwich structure here. Als der im eigentlichen Sinne. Im eigentlichen Sinn with a zero. Could be a syllabic though. Unmarkierte Satztyp. Unmarkierte Satztyp. Oh, and then close bracket. So, what I mean is you have that prepositional im eigentlichen Sinn inserted into the noun phrase between the article and the rest. Der im eigentlichen Sinn unmarkiert. It's modifying unmarkiert, which also is missing a letter. Unmarkierte.
Okay. The, in actual sense, unmarked sentence type.
Okay, let's give that a better English ordering. Sam,
I tried to do that with the intonation, but see.
How do you order things with intonation?
Okay. This was always the step I had difficulty with, was getting it into good English.
Let's see, let's practice that, especially that.
Sentence type, the unmarked sentence type, in the actual sense.
Yes. The sentence type that is in an actual sense, the underlying one. That's the idea. Good.
Okay.
Eigentlichen Sinn.
Something about German syntax has always been, I think it may be one of the most complex to unravel.
I hear you.
Well, but you have a leg up because you're basically a native speaker.
Does help. Shall we go on? Or no, not ready to go on it. Whenever any other pieces that aren't clear?
Brickish.
No, I think that sentence is clear.
All right, take it away.
Okay.
By which
Unless
I mean,
you want me to read the next sentence.
No, please translate it. In zahlreichen Arbeiten der generativen Grammatik wird diese Entstellung des verliebten Verbs im Spannsatz als die eigentliche Grundstellung, als der im eigentlichen Sinn unmarkierte Satztyp angesehen. That long mouthful. Yeah, it's quite long and intimidating, this sentence. But I hope we've pieced together meaningful intermediate chunks there to get you to the meaning.
Ha bonach agus drahish orm.
Orm on myself. I have on bonach, agus, and drahas, drawers, underpants. Drahash. From drawers.
Oh, I just got a Duolingo notification that you did 10 lessons in one day, so I gave you a high five.
I appreciate you. So, you ready to do that one?
Oh, this last sentence? Yeah.
No,
Die Grundregel
no,
lautet dann.
no. Let's translate this one we've been looking at.
Oh, a big full English one.
Bitte.
Uh,
Coat ha British Orst.
Orst. British. Breeches. Trousers on.
Okay.
British.
In the
Shelf Eli
work,
Chanil Kota Orst.
in numerous works of generative grammar,
Mm-hmm.
the ending placing the placing at the end of finite verbs
Singular.
in a span sentence as the
No,
actual.
let's get it as good English, if you would.
Okay.
That doesn't work for me. I'm gonna object.
Okay, then I'm gonna have to write it.
Sounds like a winner.
Make it.
Chanil Kota Ort.
Because I'll probably have to re-scramble after a.
Okay. Take your time. No hurry.
Ha Kota Orst.
Ort. You have a cat on.
Ha broken agus Drahish Orm.
Ha broken. Shoes, plural. Agus drachasharam. That's I have on. Broken shoes and drahash.
Chanil Linia T Orst.
You are not wearing. You don't have on. Linya tea, a t-shirt. A shirt of tea. I have a bonnet and a coat on. Ha, such and such. Autumn.
Ha
Bonnet. Where are you?
Bonach. Agus Kota.
Kota. Okay, when the T there is the onset, I don't hear that de-aspirating effect that you have in muhk. Oops, orm is needed on myself. Look, ishbo. Shell.
Shell. Ishable.
That is a fusion of the vocative particle, beginning with a vowel. You do not have boots on. Chanil.
Chan. Il.
Botana.
Botanan.
Botanan. Art.
Orst.
Orst. Bit palatable. I have a bonnet and a coat on. Ha.
Ha
Bonnet.
Bonach. Agus
Kota.
Kota Orm.
Autumn. Have them on me. A bit more intuitive, piece by piece, than what we do in English. We leave off the pronoun. I have them on me is not how we say it. Let's add that took or in eigentlich. I suppose it's at the end of eigen. Adverb eigentlich.
Okay, how is this sentence here?
Eigen plus lich. Let's see. The other option would be that it's an increment tut onto lich. Tut onto lich. In numerous works of generative grammar, the ending place for finite verbs, it's a singular, in a span sentence is regarded as the basic place, the unmarked sentence type. In actual sense is not quite. We can get closer with the English, but that's overall it, yeah. So final position of a span sentence, span clause, is regarded as basic. Now look at im eigentlichen Sinn. How many underlying words are we looking at in that phrase? Im eigentlichen Sinn. Prepositional.
In the actual sense.
Yeah, that's right. So how many underlying words?
4. In the actual sense.
You got it. So we need to translate it that way. Im is a fusion of two words. It counts as two.
Oh, I'm just missing a word in my English.
Sinn. And we could have had an on there. Eigentlichen Sinn there. So a meaningful zero. Maybe not. Okay, let's go on.
Die Grundregel lautet dann Doppelpunkt rechts determiniert links.
Good. Now, Grund. Oh, I think it sounded a little umlauted to me. That would gründen would mean to found something. Grundregel. So that could also be meaningful. So it needs to be clear. Grundregel, right. Grundregel lautet dann rechts determiniert links. Determiniert.
So
This is all.
I don't technically know what this means, but I'd like to hazard a guess.
Okay.
The Regel part at the end, I'm guessing, means rule.
Yes, that is quite right. And it's a wonderful one to look at it's from Latin, to look at our English cousin. It has our word rule has stem allomorphy. If we make it an adjective, what's the adjective corresponding to rule? I suppose we could say ruly, but we have unruly in standard English, but not ruly on its own. How do we adjectival cognate? Specifically the one ending in R. We don't say ruler. What do we say? No, not rular, not that one. What do we say instead?
Regular.
That's the one. So German leveled out the U of the second syllable just into that. It's really a syllabic L. Regel, right? The open vowel here, long. Die Regel. So what does that lead you to expect for the Latin noun stem here?
Regulus.
Might be possible, but this form that these words are derived from is feminine. Die Regel. So maybe a better analysis would be just for the suffix. And
Regula.
Regula, with that one being long. And so how do we get rule? How do we get this rule from Latin regula? What took place there?
I know the G would have to go out. And that would give like royal, I think, because of taking the G out.
Royal. No, that does come from the same root, reg for the king, but a regula is a different thing from a rex. The Middle English spelling for this, one of them was like this, rule. And if you think yourself a zero there, that's where that g weakened out of existence. But the E reflects the E, and the W reflects the U, rule. And this U is just a shorter spelling of that U diphthong. Rule. Okay, what else is worth touching on? Determiniert. Let's derive that. What are the components of this?
Determine, and then yeah.
And what are the roots of determine?
Determine, like to end, and right. Which means down from or about.
Exactly. Good. So this you can input right into my German verb deriver. Mina, and you just chop off the infinitive ending. And the increment that gets added is iruch. I have to say it comes at the end. So actually I've called it chiruk. K means go at the end. The ch means final stress. And then that. Alright. What else are we looking at here? Die Grundregel.
There is a handful of verbs like that come from, like, directly from Latin, And they have like an ear
Yes,
thing at the end.
that's right. It's the regular thing in German. Passiert,
Okay.
determiniert, fasziniert. Probably hundreds, not thousands. That's right. So for these Franco-Latin verbs, they like to end this way. It's not a meaningful piece. It just lets you make a verb out of a borrowed noun or a borrowed verb out of borrowed material. But not from all. They don't do it to English ones.
Okay. I don't know if you want to address that in your grammar.
Address what? What's that?
If you want to address this ear thing for
Yeah.
these Franco-Latin borrowed nouns.
I've already given it a name and everything.
Okay.
I think it's useful to know. It's a commonly recurring thing. Yeah, I've included it. Didn't even consider not, but yeah. Where are we? Die Grundregel lautet dann.
Okay. So I know laut as an adjective, loud,
But that's not what it is here.
but this is a verb, so it must be different.
It means sort of to sound or to be, namely such and such.
Okay, so the ground rule is namely the right determines left.
Gut, bitte fortfahren. Please continue.
Oh, then we're doing the
Where that?
Satzfeld and Satzklammer.
Unless you don't want to, but I thought we might.
Okay. Satzfeld und Satzklammer. 1. In einer auf Draht
Speelklarren.
zurückgehenden Einteilung wird der Kernsatz der eine zusammengesetzte Verbform A ein trennbares Verb, B oder einen Verbzusatz C enthält in 3 verschiedene Teilbereiche untergliedert.
Ah, close. That's going to be untergliedert. But it's hard. Yeah, you can't just tell that from looking at it. Untergliedert. Wird untergliedert. But actually, we can tell that from looking at it. Now that I think about it. What does it tell us that the word is stressed like this? Untergliedert.
That means that unter is a real prefix.
Untergliedert, exactly.
And not a univerb particle.
Yep. How do we know? Well, make it explicit for the folks at home. What is this one lacking that would have? If unter were meant as a separate word, which is possible, there are verbs that do it that way, as a separate word, what morphological difference would there be on this particular participle?
It would be untergliedert.
No, not for the participle. That's what we're looking at here.
Oh.
Because, right, it's wird der Kernsatz untergliedert. Exactly.
What?
I thought you were saying it. Let me not interrupt.
Untergliedert?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh wow, so you would still use the GE in the front.
Yes, exactly. We have this in untergeteilt. Unterteilt. Untergeordnet.
Okay.
It's more common. Let's do that. Ordnet. Actually, maybe like this. Ordnen makes a little difference. Ordnet. Untergeordnet would have initial stress. Untergeordnet. Which makes sense because it's its own word. Geordnet would have a minor stress here.
Then that means that the GE here, the G, will try to go on the front, but the unter does not allow it.
Exactly. It's blocking that spot. That's exactly right. That's what we need. So, it's a subtle point but it takes us a moment or two to see it. But that fact alone It's hard, right? It's hard to spot the dog that doesn't bark in the night, but here's a case of that. The fact that there's this g missing, that it's not there, really tells us indirectly which syllable we need to stress. Untergliedert. And we can reconstruct the whole paradigm from that, with that little insight.
Wow.
So a bit nightmarish for learners, but there is pattern to it, and our job as teachers and grammarians is to identify, to spot the pattern, and explain, and help the learner to get it in their noggins.
Well, this is quite a sentence.
Okay, no doubt. So what's the subject, though, to make it simple? We don't begin with this one either, similar to two above.
Der Kernsatz.
Der Kernsatz. Genau. The kernel sentence. Sentence kernel.
Okay.
And then the verb.
And our verb is wird untergliedert.
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 Genau.
Yep, that's right. Wird untergliedert, which can mean did we see this verb glieden before?
Gliedern. No, maybe not. Blockard. But we did see glied. So gliedern is derived from that. To segment. To cut into members.
Okay.
Cut up the members into separate parts. Mentally, I think here. Not.
And this is
with an I.
under segmented.
Yeah. It's not. Doesn't really correspond to the English one so well in meaning in this case.
Okay.
It is, unless we, well, we calc it into Latin. What is Latin for unter?
Sub.
Exactly. And for gliedern, we can think of like divide. Or
Subdivide, okay.
Right, subdivide. Untergliedern.
So the kernel sentence is subdivided.
Genau. And then we need to see in drive the preposition in is part of the core argument structure for this verb. X
This first
gliedert y in ein and yeah, into what?
Oh, which in? Okay, this one. In three
Drei verschiedene Teilbereiche. Drei verschiedene.
Okay, well, I see Teil.
Hmm?
Teil means a part or
Genau.
a piece.
That's right.
And then verschieden. I see the root scheiden, to
Good.
cut.
Yes. To split, go apart, is the root meaning, scheiden. And then verschieden, with a vowel change there. Stress on the schied, so that's just a prefix, not separable. Means separate or different. It's really a good calc on both of those-ish. In the calc penumbra, separate. The C is a positional word in Latin, and dif respects dis. Disfere, carrying apart.
Bereich.
Bereich is an area. Might be, actually, that might be related to that ruling root of zahlreich and Königreich and so on. And the adjective rich. Let's look at that. Bereich. What are you made of? Could be some other lost root. Bereichen, to extend, to cover, to bereach. That one, the verb reach, not rich. Oops. Alright, I need to step away for just a second. But let's hear the sup and ting as I return.
Suaujas, autšas, tābjambis, ngebjambis, ngasibjambis, ngasosam, ngeosup. Suaujas, autšas, tābjambis, ngebjambis, ngasibjambis, ngasosam, ngeosup. Tiptas jhisiptas tha mipvasmas tātam jah. Thasatham dhavam itvahimahing. Tiptas jhisiptas tha mipvasmas ta'atam ja. Thasatham dhavam itvahimahing.
There it is. All of our soup and all of our ting.
Three
Whiting.
separate.
Okay. What else is in need of discussion, comment?
Okay, so we have the kernel sentences subdivided into 3 separate areas. Okay.
Genau.
Now we have gotten some of this sentence. Good.
Yep,
But there are more clauses that need untangling.
That's right. Yeah, but that's right. The core meaning is not really going to change substantially. All the rest is just kind of more filling, optionally stuff. Now, what do you make of the very first phrase, from in to Kansatz? No, actually not as far as that. Einteilung is the head noun there. Von in bis Einteilung.
One of.
Not quite. Not eines, einer des, but another sandwich structure. Einer is the article, opening up a bracket, ending with ein.
Oh wow. In eine Einteilung.
Genau. That's right. That's what we need to spot. And
is that right?
That's right. Yeah. With a bit of a extra. So I call that a sandwich. Maybe that's not really accurate, but it's to us a very long noun phrase. In English, we don't like that much weight in between article and noun. We can have an adjective, and that can have modifiers, but a prepositional phrase is not welcome in that spot in English.
Zurück is back. Going.
Going back. Zurückgehenden. Now, it could look like a gehend if you took hend as a root, ge as the prefix, but there is no root hend, so it's gehend.
Okay.
Yeah, as you correct.
Zurückgehenden. So this means in an Einteilung.
Right.
Which has gone back by Eric Drock.
Not by, and not that it has gone back. No, the end thing, zurückgehenden, gehend. And the n is an ending suffix. If it ends in end, that's a present participle, active.
Okay. Is being reviewed or something? Is going back on.
It goes back to. The tradition goes back to.
Okay.
There's no word tradition, but that kind of idea of going back to. Is in the history of ideas.
Tradition?
Yeah, we can sort of supplement the word tradition. There's nothing that corresponds to that in the original, but the subdivision, his categorization, we might say, for Einteilung.
Okay.
So in a categorization
so what would be a good gloss for zurückgehenden?
Going back to. In a categorization, going back to, that's the auf, a scholar named Erich Drach, or Drach, I don't know whether it's short or long. In dieser Einteilung, so in dieser Tradition is kind of an idea similar to it. In his approach, his analysis even.
So in a going back to Eric Drock categorization.
Yeah, it's terrible
which is
English.
Grammatical in English.
Yeah, it's nose-wrinklingly bad. So just move that bit over to the left, pull the head noun leftward, and you get a better English order. Wird der Kernsatz.
In a categorization going back to Eric Drock.
Yeah. Now.
The kernel sentence is subdivided into 3 separate areas.
Good. What do you make?
And here we're listing the A, B, and C. These are the 3 areas.
Genau. Well, not areas, no. It's not counting areas, but something like that. What do you make of the phrase following Kernsatz? We got to look. So, from wird, always keep in mind that that's sort of anchored to enthält at the end of the clause. No, that's not right. Sorry. That doesn't even make sense. Wird enthält doesn't go together. Wird untergliedert. Now, der, we got to look for a smaller What is dia introducing? What type of a construction?
Oh, it could be a relative clause.
Bingo! That's what it is.
Or a noun. Okay, relative clause.
Which, and then the verb, a relative clause needs a verb in it, so that's going to be at the end of it, enthält. And the der tells you that this thing is the subject of this clause.
Okay. What is the subject?
Kernsatz.
Oh, okay, yes, that's how relative clauses work. Okay.
You could have it postponed, but generally it's going to be right next to that head noun, yeah.
Okay. A Kernsatz. Which
Enthält.
enthält. I know halten, so this could be related.
It is indeed related. Prefixed derivative. Enthalten, and with third singular subject you get umlaut. Enthält. And fusion of the ending.
Now, I am familiar with all of these prefixes, ent, all of those. I have seen them many times and know words that include them and so on. But I don't know their meanings in and of themselves.
Well, it's often hard to pin down, and there you could be looking at words with 2 or 3 distinct core meanings. They're not, I mean, what were once words millennia ago. They're worn down bits of former words, probably, or just prefixes. And they really will often modify the meaning in an idiomatic way. You have to memorize them as chunks. What's an English parallel there? We have a word research, so it's not built on English morphology, but we have research and we also have search as verbs. But this is not the one that means doing again. We don't call, research is not an activity of re-looking where you've looked for something before, right? It's a distinct word. That's kind of how these German prefixes often work. There's not a single...
Oh, you say that word differently than I do.
Right.
I say research.
To make clear that it's the verb, I like to use the final stress. Research.
Okay.
So you can know like a root meaning or two for the ent, and you can know the meaning of halten, but think of like aufhören. Do you remember what aufhören means? It's got the root of hearing in it, but it doesn't mean anything like that. What
to stop doing something.
Stop. Exactly. You couldn't predict it, really. It's a kicking the bucket. But enthalten means to contain something. X contains Y. That's how it works. So, der Kernsatz enthält eine zusammengesetzte Verbform. The letters follow the things that they're listing.
We had a good translation word for zusammengesetzt.
And ponere, compound.
Together set.
Compound. Zusammensetzen.
Okay. A compound verb form. A trennbares verb. What's trennbares?
Okay, do you know trennen? Oh, bar is a good one. Add to my
list. Bar is the same that's in wunderbar.
Not really. Not as far as meaning. As far as the form, yes, but a different sense here.
Okay.
That's an affix. Bar, trennbar.
And then the es is just under a little augment.
Indeed. Trennbar. So trennen means what? It's a verb.
I don't know it.
Separate.
Okay.
To separate. And so what then, therefore, does ba mean?
Separatable.
Yes, separable. That's right. It derives an adjective with passive meaning. Passive potential.
So a previously was separated or is being separated.
No, separable. Capable of being separated.
Separable.
Separable.
Okay. A separable verb.
So the
B.
first part, what is
Or
okay? Oder einen. Ooh, is a nice one.
verb Zusatz. Verb to
Verbzusatz.
sentence.
Not okay. It does look like the word sentence, but that's not the root meaning of Satz. Satz,
Oh.
how you nominalize sitzen. One way to nominalize it. It's a nominal derivative. Sitzen via vowel change. And here we have to know the compound zusetzen. Well, it's no longer really there as a verb, but it means add to. Zusatz, addition.
Or an additive verb.
Interesting. I'm not
What does that mean?
Einen Verbzusatz. Don't know. Let's see. Do we have it listed in the following section? I don't know what they mean by that. I hope they explain in the coming paragraphs or pages. I guess we've got to stay tuned for that evolution.
Okay.
Oh wow, we're past 2 hours. Let's call it a night, eh? It's almost midnight.
Okay.
Ha-i akyanach. Boy. Kyanach, she is buying. She's in her buying of Atar.
Oh, it's almost midnight.
Yep, I'm noticing that too.
Dressa.
Dressa.
Ha-i a ceannach bróg.
She is buying a shoe.
Ha-i a géirí spéachlaran.
Agiri. Speculars, glasses. Is wanting?
Éirí.
She is wanting glasses.
Seo gensi.
This Gensi. This is a sweater.
Ha gensi orm.
Gensi.
Autumn.
Orm. Bróg. Bróg.
Voiceless K for the G.
Chanil I a géirí dressa.
Eerie
Eerie.
wanting. Alright. Eerie. She does not want a dress.
Chanil a géirí spéachlaran.
Glasses.
Ha ian a ceannach cóta.
Ian is buying a coat.
Ha-i a géirí dressa.
Wants.
Well, here's a question.
You found one. Nay.
So
Ha
we
sémas
described
a
these
géirí
particles
uaireadar.
as undergoing a process of univerbation when they get joined together with a verb. But if they would get joined together with a noun, is that still called univerbation?
Yeah, good question. I wouldn't say so. There may often, like this one we were just looking at, there may often be a still active verbal thing like that. But in the case of Zusatz, I don't know if it's Zusetzen, really. Not part of my active vocabulary. So there, I think it'd be better to just speak of a compound noun, unless we need to
Okay.
Yeah, good question. This Zusatz. So zu in the addition and the meaning of in addition to. Zusetzen. And setzen is a causative of sit, to set, to cause something to sit in addition. So the literal meaning gets you most of the way there, but it's good to have an idiomatic English rendering too in your brain. Store it that way. Hashilmus ak ira urader. Wanting a watch. Wanting a watch. Hashilmus agira urader.
Ha sémas a géirí uaireadar.
Urader. Urader.
Ha é a géirí broke.
Wanting a shoe.
Oh, you know what I should do?
What's that?
I just thought of an activity I could do. I could just find a text of some sort in German and go in with some colored markers and mark which, for all like the adjective augments, mark which
Okay.
like case and gender they are.
Nate, sounds like a winner.
Okay. I may try that.
Look forward to the results. Alright, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. Come see us again.
Good
안녕히
night.
계세요.
안녕히 계세요.